ink is barely dry on the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and now the U.S. military is under fire for institutionalized discrimination against a group much larger than gays and lesbians, atheists, agnostics, and other non-believers, and believers who just want to keep it to themselves. Our fourth story tonight, the U.S. Army forcing at least 800,000 uniformed soldiers to take a test of their spirituality, telling those who fail that they need counseling. It's part of what's called the Comprehensive Soldier Fitness Program, according to the website Truth Out, a $125 million program to combat suicide and post-traumatic stress disorder. Worthy goals indeed, but the online test specifically claims that, quote, the spiritual dimension questions on the global assessment tool, GAT, pertain to the domain of the human spirit. They are not religious in nature. The hell they're not. The Military Association of Atheists and Freethinkers posted a screen capture of the test, the spirituality questions asking soldiers to rate how the following statements apply to them. I am a spiritual person. My life has a lasting meaning. I believe that in some way my life is closely connected to all humanity and all the world. The job I am doing in the military has lasting meaning. I believe there is a purpose for my life. Innocent enough? Not to one poster identifying himself as a lieutenant who wrote on a DOD website, quote, the GAT asks rather intrusive questions about soldiers' spirituality, coming perilously close to violating the First Amendment. There was no option to avoid the questions, leaving our atheist soldiers to wonder if their beliefs are tolerated in today's increasingly religious army. They probably weren't wondering once they got their results. Sergeant Griffith posting what the GAT told him after he took the test. Quote, you lack a sense of meaning and purpose in your life. At times, it is hard for you to make sense of what is happening to you and others around you. You may not feel connected to something larger than yourself. Griffith was then advised to speak with a counselor. Brigadier General Rhonda Cornum, who runs the program, told one blog, quote, every time you say the SPIR word, you're going to get sued, so that part is not mandatory. If you do seek help with your spirituality deficit, suggested solutions probably seal the deal here. They're explicitly religious. Church, prayer, and a higher power. Maybe some time at the Fort Hood Spiritual Fitness Center. The program was started by two chaplains, but its psychological underpinnings, a theory that positive thinking can help soldiers overcome even captivity and torture, it turns out, were developed by that man, Martin Seligman, whose theories were also used by the military in creating the Bush administration regime of torturing captive suspects. As of tonight, the Army has not yet cleared Sergeant Justin Griffith to speak with us. Joining us is Mikey Weinstein, the president and founder of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, who's representing Sergeant Griffith and some 200 other soldiers in the matter. Thank you for your time tonight, sir.
Nice to be here, Keith. Thank you.
There's no God and no Jesus in those questions. So explain why asking soldiers about spirituality and meaningness and connectedness is still religious in nature, sort of apart from the fact that if you get the answers wrong, they suggest you go to church.
Well, there's two answers. The first thing, of course, is that if you go to Clause 3, Article 6 of the body of our Constitution, which has been around since December of 1789, it clearly states we will never have a religious test for any position in the federal government like being in the military. It doesn't say you have to say Jesus. In today's military, and that's what we do at the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, those are code words. This is all we do here, Keith. When someone says spirituality, they're trying to talk about religion, and specifically not just Christianity, but a particular brand of Christianity, fundamentalist Christianity, which is why we have, after the truthout.org story by Jason Leopold got out everywhere, it was a great story, we have 220 soldiers we're representing now, of whom 183 are practicing Protestants and Catholics. And I might add that our strongest ally is the California Council of Churches Impact Group, which is millions of California Protestants, 5,500 congregations. They're as outraged as anybody because we've seen through this over and over again. It's unconstitutional, it's unlawful, and that one brigadier general is correct. They are going to be sued, and we're going to sue them.
And those practicing religionists that you mentioned there, is the argument that it's nobody's business, or is the argument that their religions are being in some way deemed insufficient because of this fundamentalism that seems to be creeping into the military, as you said?
Well, and again, it's not even a creeping, it's at a tsunami rate. Absolutely, it's the fact that the Christians are being told you're not Christian enough. It's not the right type of religion. Look, it was 5.5 years ago on the front page of the newspaper, most despised by the Pentagon, the New York Times, that the United States Air Force announced that it had a new policy. The U.S. Air Force was now going to reserve its right to evangelize anyone, Keith, that it determined to be unchurched. Well, how do you determine that? Well, a soldier fitness tracking global assessment tool is a great way to do that. So the soldiers understand this. You talked about, Boehner was talking about people that don't want to compete. if you're a junior enlisted person in today's U.S. military, if you're even being gently evangelized or asked these questions by your superiors, get the hell out of my face, sir or ma'am, it's not an option for you. So they come to our foundation and we do it. They can't compete. They're subordinates. If you compete, it's insubordination. It's a felony under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. That's how serious this is.
Has that old cliche, there are no atheists in foxholes, ever been proved or even proved relevant? I mean, is there any indication that atheist soldiers are less fit for battle or the aftermath than their theistic comrades?
Yes, it's been proven to be as correct as Paul Bunyan or the Loch Ness Monster. It's completely ridiculous. We have a large number of atheists that can actually refer to themselves as foxhole atheists, like Sergeant Justin Griffith, who's our client, and many, many others. They're wonderful soldiers. As I want to say again, most of our clients, we have 21,000 and hundreds more each month with the Military Religious Freedom Foundation. 96% are Protestants and Catholics. It seems most of the time we have, in rare occurrences, we have atheists or agnostics that are willing to stand up. But in this country, we do not determine, your viability as an American citizen, particularly if you're wearing that uniform, by whether or not, you have a particular view of religion.
Well, it's the only word appropriate. Amen. Mikey Weinstein, the president and founder of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, which will be suing on this. Great, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Keith.
Funny doggone thing happened at that Constitution reading. By the end, there were almost no Republicans.